And welcome back to Inside Hoopsteria. It is day 3 of round 2, and we are going to be looking at all 4 games that are set to take place today. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. And as we always do, let's go ahead and start with the bracket, and let's start with the East region. And so the first game of the day, we got St. John's taking on Louisville. As you see, the 6 seed St. John's taking on the 3 seed Louisville. And so let's go ahead and start with Louisville and just really the keys to the game for them. And so I think that, first and foremost, I think you have to look at the fact that this is a team that can score with the best of them. In fact, coming into this tournament, they were 4th in the country at 78.4 points per game. And so this is a team that definitely can fill it up. And so I think that they're certainly going to have to do that if they want to advance against St. John's. And next, look, I think the next thing that they do is they do a great job as far as getting to the free throw line. They convert a lot of their free throws. They were 5th in the country there. And so I think that that is going to be important for them because this is a team that doesn't want to just rely on the three-point shot. They also want to make sure that they establish themselves in the paint. And so that is going to be key for Louisville. And next, with the three-point shooting, this is something that they can do well too. And so they can light you up just at all 3 levels on the offensive end. And so 34%, that was good enough for 13th in the country coming into this thing. And so Louisville, they have a potent offense. It's all going to be about putting it together. And I think that they are going to have to really depend on their stars out there. And so Pooh Lewis is going to have to be the big-time shot creator that he is. And then you have Kadarius Loftus. He's going to have to be the three-point marksman out there to keep this team on balance. Do they have enough? That is going to be the question. And so next, as we shift focus and we look at St. John's, I think that with St. John's, the first thing about them is the fact that, look, they do a great job as far as going out and rebounding the basketball. And so that is the first thing that they're going to have to do is really hit the boards and just maximize those possessions on the defense and the offensive end. And so defensively, you want to take away opportunities from Louisville. Offensively, you want to create some more opportunities. And so I think that that's key number 1 for them. And I think after that, look, for St. John's, the next thing that they are going to have to do is they're going to also have to get to the free throw line because they are right behind Louisville at 71% as well, just slightly under them. But this is a team that will get downhill. They are good at drawing contact. And so it's going to be an interesting type of battle because they're both kind of similar with the way that they want to get downhill and get to the free throw line. And so which team really wins at the free throw line, that might be the difference here in the game. And then with St. John's, the one thing about them, they're averaging 70.4 points per game. And so they're right there. That is another key to, obviously, you want to score more than the opponent. But, these teams, they're going to be going back and forth, and you're going to have to get to a point in the game where somebody's offense is just going to have to be much better than the others. And so we'll see. That's another thing that you look forward to in this game. And so with St. John's, I think the one thing that scares me is that they've been turnover prone. And so they came in averaging 11.7 turnovers. And so that's something that you do not want to give extra possessions over to Louisville. I think that they will make you pay. And I think their stars, it starts with, Chai King. He's going to have to play well. He's the everything for this team. He's the coach on the court. And so you know that he's going to have a big game if they're going to really advance here against Louisville. And also, too, Keyshawn Shipp is going to have to really be in his bag as well. I mean, he's a pure scorer, the court vision, all that stuff like that. Like, he's really got to show up here in this round or else they are going home. And so I think that this is going to be an interesting game. Look for a lot of scoring. Look for a lot of these, or both of these teams, to try to draw the foul and get to the free throw line. So it could be a little bit of a physical contest too. And so next, let's go ahead and jump back into the bracket and get ready for the next game that will be coming up here today. And I must say that I think a lot of people are definitely anticipating this one, especially since we are getting ready to see, I just think, one of the biggest stars here in the country, and that is going to be Iowa versus Auburn. And so let's go ahead and let us start with Iowa and just what they have. And so with Iowa, it's no big secret that they have Lamarian Sherwood, who we know is slated to be, the top pick in this upcoming draft, or at least he's in consideration. And so we don't know if he's going to be the top pick just yet, but he's definitely in the consideration. And it's clear that they're a much different team when he's on the floor. And so this is a guy that if you have not got a chance to see him, traditional back to the basket type of score, very old school like, goes about his business just like Tim Duncan did back in the day, my personal opinion. And so just kind of looking at him that way. And so he's everything for Iowa. He's going to be the guy that they want to really establish the paint presence with. And so he's going to be huge if they're going to move on. Next up for them, the points per game. And so can Iowa continue to score like they were doing during the season when he was playing at 78.6 points per game? And so I think that that's something that they are going to need against Auburn. They're going to have to make Auburn chase. We'll talk about them in a moment. Next up, the assist. Okay. And so this is another thing that Iowa does well, 16.7 assists coming into the tournament. And so they do a great job as far as, finding people. This is a team that is very unselfish. And I think that that is going to be key if they're going to move on. Next, their field goal percentages have been very good throughout the season. And so they're going to have to continue that. The one thing that scares me with Iowa is that they can be turnover prone and they can also be very dependent on Sherwood. And so others are going to have to step up alongside of Sherwood. That has always been the question with Iowa. Next, they're going to have to cut down the turnovers, because if they do not, Auburn certainly can advance here. And so next, looking at Auburn, I think that first, it really starts with just the fact that they can knock down the three-point shot at a high clip. In fact, coming into this is a team that they were ninth in the country at 35%, even three-point percentage. And so this is a team that will certainly knock down the shot. And so they're going to have to lean on that against Iowa and Sherwood. And so next, with them, I think that they play some good defense here, because this is a team that holds teams to about 65 points per game. And so we just talked about how Iowa likes to score. And so that defense is going to be critical for Auburn if they are going to win here. Now, what scares me with Auburn is that this team themselves, they only average 67.2 points per game. And so they do not score at a high clip, and they're definitely going to have to really do something that's uncharacteristic here, and they're going to have to step up there. And so I don't know if they can get into a track meet, so to speak, with Iowa. They want the game to slow down, and so we'll see which team is able to really establish their pace here. And so I think that the key player to watch in this one is going to be Barkley James. I think that Barkley James, his ability to knock down shots, his ability to just get it from really anywhere on the floor, and the range that he has, he's going to certainly need to have everything going to get Iowa's defense extended and just, out of sort. And so hopefully he is able to show up today. I think he's going to be critical for them, coming in at 16.2 points per game, 47% from three. And so he does a terrific job as far as knocking down three-point shots. In fact, look, he also does a great job as far as getting to the free throw line, 79.2% from the free throw line. And he's also got 42 attempts there as well. So this guy definitely gets to the free throw line. And so next, we want to go ahead and jump into the next game here. And that is going to be Utah and Xavier. And so I think that this is going to be another terrific contest. These are all going to be great games, hopefully close ones. And so let's go ahead and let's start with Utah. And so with Utah, I think that the big thing for them, it's going to be the offensive rebounds, because we got them down here for 9.1 offensive rebounds. I think that that is some terrific production for them. And I think that that's always going to be key in any game when you're talking about getting some extra possessions here. And so I think that Utah is going to have to really hit the boards hard, get the extra possessions if they want to advance. Next, I think another thing that they do well here is they get the three-point attempts up. And so they're certainly going to test teams, may not necessarily make them, but they are going to shoot them. And so when you're shooting the three ball, makes the defense respected. And so hopefully Utah can get Xavier opened up that way. Next with them, you just wonder, can they score enough points in this game? Because 67.3 points a game, I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. They're going to have to find a way to score some more. And I don't like the fact that Utah really doesn't force a lot of turnovers. That's another thing that scares me. This is not a team that's necessarily active in the passing lanes. And I think that you're going to have to be a little bit more active defensively if you want to continue to move on in the tournament. So only 9.5 as far as the forced turnovers here. And so they've got to do a lot better there. And so I think that Hendon, look, he's going to have to be huge for Utah. I mean, his ability to catch and shoot, knock down shots, he's going to have to be the guy that keeps Xavier off balance. And so next, looking at Xavier, I think really it starts with their head coach for me, because with Xavier, I think with Coach Sean Miller, look, he's done a terrific job just traditionally at his stops. And I think that he's always got his teams at least here or to the round of 16. But then after that, that generally is where that success ends. And so can he coach this team to go further than they've really ever gone before, I guess, under his leadership? And so that is going to be the first question that I have here is Sean Miller. He's going to have to step up. Next, I think this for them too, offensive rebounding has been critical for this team. And so between these two teams, whoever wins that, I think you can go ahead and start to favor them there. And then with the rebounds total, this is a team that definitely hits the boards at 34.8 rebounds. And so they do a terrific job there. That was good enough to be top 10 in the country. And so going to have to rebound well, certainly going to have to get you some extra possessions. And this is a team that they do have some interior presence at 3.5 blocks a game. And so you can definitely expect that Xavier, I think, has the better defense, in my opinion, here. And so can they put the offense together? That's going to be the question here, because they're coming in. They're only at 61.2 points per game. And so I'm thinking the same question here with them is just, can they score enough points? And so between Utah and Xavier, I think that this might be the game that's really just a slow down defensive battle. We'll see what happens with that. And I think just their main player here in Maccabee, he's going to have to step up. And so back to the basket type of player, will he establish the identity for Xavier? We'll find out. I think that this is going to be a terrific game. And so lastly, I think that this next game is really going to be the game of the night for me. And that is going to be UCLA and also to Jackson State. And so this is in the West region. So we just came out of the Midwest region that we were talking about. But going over here to this Western region or West region, I think that this is going to be a fabulous game. And so let's go ahead and let's start with UCLA and really what they have. And so I think that for me personally, they have, I think, one of the best duos in the country. I think some would argue with that. Maybe some feel like that they do have the best duo in the country. But you have Jalen Snow. You have LaGerald Carroll as well. I mean, they complement each other. Or can't talk to each other. Carroll is able to knock down the three-point shots. Jalen Snow is just a terrific creator. He can knock down shots and things like that. And so they have a terrific duo there. And I think that that is going to be key for UCLA if they're going to advance. This is a team that will need to score like they've done really all year. And so talking about scoring, they were third in the country with the three-point percentage at 45%, so they can fill it up there. As far as their makes, 7.8 from behind the line, and so they're terrific there. And then the points, 80.2 points per game. And so this is a team that absolutely will fill it up that way. The issue that I have with UCLA is that defense is optional. Okay. And so as you get deeper into the tournament, you have to play some defense. And I mean, to just the fact that they've gotten this far, that just tells you how good that their offense is. But defensively, at some point, UCLA is going to have to draw the line in the sand, and they got to stop somebody, because if not, there is going to be a time where that team, where they go cold, talking about UCLA, and they're not able to get enough stops to stay into the game. And so you hope that it's not today. It could be that situation, because Jackson State is going to be relentless. And so the next thing too with UCLA is they only force 9.2 turnovers. That's not good enough. They're going to have to get more active there. Opponents are getting 73.1 points per game, and that's pretty solid. And like I said, if you go cold and that other team gets hot, this could be an issue here for UCLA. And so next, with Jackson State, I think that the biggest question for them is going to be D Woodley. Like, is he healthy? He went down with the ankle injury. Haven't heard too much of the status here with what's going on. I'm assuming that he's going to be probably a game time decision. And so with him, you wonder just how good he's going to be, because coming off of an ankle injury, we're talking about a player that uses speed. We're talking about a player that has his handle and he's just a great shot creator. You wonder if he's not 100%, what type of D Woodley are we going to get? And is that going to be enough? And so that is, I think the key number one here for Jackson State. If they're going to advance, they need to have a very good D Woodley. Next, I think the next thing for them is that they just have to continue to be a team that is just scrappy, resilient, getting you in the mud. And that starts with them getting rebounds. This is a team that I think rebounds fairly well, and they're active. They're just all over the place. I think that as soon as the ball goes up, you can assure yourself that a Jackson State player is trying to get position on you. I mean, it's just a given. And so I love the way that this team scraps and fights. And so I think rebounding is going to be key, especially against a tough UCLA team. You do not want to give them extra possessions. You want to take those away. Next up, I think that as far as the interior defense, 3.6 blocks a game. I love that about Jackson State, the fact that they will give you some resistance here at the rim. And so they're going to need that today, because I know UCLA wants to put up the 3-point shots, but again, they go cold, they can't get to the line and things like that. That could also favor Jackson State in this one. And then next, when you look at the opponent's scoring, 67.4. And so I wonder defensively, is Jackson State going to have enough? Because we just talked about how good UCLA is at scoring. And so that is going to be very interesting. So let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking as far as these games that are getting set to take place here. And so you guys let me know what you're thinking, who might be the biggest upset, or if there's not going to be any upsets at all. And so we just wanted to go ahead, set the table for today. Make sure that you go out there, you get the full meal, you stay locked into the network, as we got some great games coming up, all 4 games here. And so as we always say, look, see the game and be the game. We will see you on the next one. All right. Enjoy the tournament, guys.